Hey up everybody, my name is Joshua Morris and director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about scripting or improvisation. These are two tools that you can use for your film and they will provide very, very different looks. So how do both of them work? What are the benefits, the pros and the cons of both? And how can you implement a good mix into your film to make sure that you get the best quality product that you can possibly make? So improvisation is very simple. It's basically what I'm doing, and it's a lot of what Johnny Mozer, his Lessons in Confidence is all about. It's all about getting a naturalistic kind of dialogue going through the course of the film. So some of the scenes for the film, I have purposefully not written a script. I have just done beats. So I'll start off, say you've got a scene of a rehearsal. Right, I know what the beats are, so it'll start off with a bit of a jam, and then someone needs to say, this isn't working, and then I need to go and show them the idea that I want to actually get across, get the reactions from them, and then they say that you can't sing, and I then get annoyed and I walk off, and that's the beats that need to happen in the scene. But how the actors want to actually do that is completely up to them. How they want to word things is completely in their hands. So a lot of actors quite like improvisation. A lot of them also prefer scripted stuff, so it depends on the actor that you're working with. Some prefer, one way of doing things, some prefer another way of doing things, and it's good to have a bit of both. So scripting is well, it's pretty obvious. It's where you write down what the character says, and then the character says that thing, and that's kind of what we do in more sort of plot-heavy sort of scenes. So if you've got a scene where there's some exposition that needs to be told in a specific way to make it interesting, then that is where scripting can come in useful, and that's where you can really hone in your craft. And this is for much more focused and detailed filmmaking. That's what it's quite useful for. So you can get a nice combination of both. And yeah, I like improvisation because you can just sort of have fun with it, and you can kind of come up with some creative ideas on the fly, and you end up making things that are pretty interesting. And I also like scripting because, for very different reasons, you can create a scene that has a specific purpose, and it's very focused on achieving that purpose. Now, certain films are going to require more scripting, certain films will work better with improvisation, and it's up to you to decide which tool you want to use, because both are extremely different in how they're actually used. For instance, you've got, and both can be used well and they can be used badly. So take two films that both use improvisation. The 2016 Ghostbusters, and then take something like, I don't know, any of Joel Haver's works, for instance. Both improvised, but both use improvisation in different ways and to different successes. I feel like Ghostbusters kind of fails because it's such a slick, big set with all the crew and everything there, so it's already quite sterilized because of that, and they're trying to introduce this human element via the improvisation. And then with Joel Haver's work, the reason that kind of works with the improvisation and so on is that you're able to get this free-flowing dialogue in a very naturalistic setting, because there's only maybe one guy behind the camera in a place that feels very naturalistic, in a place where there's not like lights all over the shop and everything's all like that. It's all very simple and down to earth, and that's where improv is really, really useful. You will find that in comedy particularly, in the past sort of 20 years, improvisation has really taken off and been used to great effect. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for instance, uses a fair bit of improvisation. Alan Partridge, 20 years ago, that wasn't technically improvised, but it was rehearsed, so they didn't necessarily script everything out, but they knew exactly what they were going to do beforehand, so it wasn't like they were making things up as they go along. So there are two types of improvisation. There's a type of improvisation where you've got no idea what it is you're actually going to do, and you go in there and you make it happen. And then there's a type of improvisation where you've already got most of it figured out. It's just the specifics of how you say stuff is going to vary from take to take. Now, improvisation works very well with a multi-camera setup, because that way you can capture everything very cleanly, and you can do continuity isn't an issue, because if you are doing a single cam setup with improvisation, you are quite likely to run into continuity errors. For instance, if in the first scene you know, you're kind of drinking a fair bit and you're talking and you're having a monologue, and then maybe you do one really good monologue about like, and like all the jokes really hit and all the moments really hit and land, and you felt like it was right in that sort of one. And then you do another one, and maybe you're not drinking in that one so much. Maybe you're like fiddling around with, I don't know, your tie, if he's wearing a tie or something like that. So that's where multicam can be very useful. So you just set up one camera here, then you set up, say, one camera here, and that can capture everything that you need for the sake of the film. So you can get an awful lot of good stuff out of that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to do improvisation, but scripting is also quite useful as well. You all right? Yeah, just doing a video about the idea of improvisation.
About what?
Improvisation versus scripting stuff out.
Scripting.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes, it's going quite well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You have a good day, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully these clouds stay out, because it's such a good look.
When it will be on the air?
Sorry?
When it will be on the air? When?
Probably today. If you search Johnny Mozzer,
What's that?
Johnny Mozzer,
Which television?
it's going to be on YouTube.
YouTube. Oh,
Yeah. And then the film itself, hopefully, will go on Amazon Prime or something like that. Because I'm doing these as like little promos for the film and so on. So when the film actually comes out, that's going to be on Amazon Prime. And
Okay. So where do you get that? YouTube?
yeah, you search Johnny Mozzer.
Johnny.
Mozzer, so Jonny and then MOZZA, and it should come up. It's just doing loads of these little like piece to cameras. I do like inspirational stuff.
Yeah.
Aye.
Superb.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care, yeah? So that's a perfect example of improvisation and just going with the flow and just seeing what can kind of come out. That's a nice little naturalistic conversation. You've got so many opportunities for that in the real world, because the real world is chaotic, and you know, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, and things will go wrong, and you can work around them and turn a flaw into a centerpiece for that film. So that is where improvisation is really, really useful. Scripting, on the other hand, is incredibly useful for getting those, as I said, extremely focused and quite tight scenes down. It's very good for if you've got like an exposition-heavy scene. If you try and improvise an exposition scene, you're probably going to find that you end up with this very boring scene with actors that feel like they're not giving their A game. Improvisation is really good for when you have a specific thing that you want the character to do, and you allow the actor to have fun being in that role. I find improvisation works best for comedy. You can do it for drama. I know, what's his name? I can't remember his name, that does 922 films. He does improvisation for drama-y kind of stuff like Chlorine and Sheep Theatre. These are more serious films, but they do make use of improv in a very satisfying and interesting way. So it's not genre dependent, but I do find that comedy is really, really good for improvisation, and drama tends to work better with scripts. And yeah, with scripting, you write everything down, you get everything figured out, you do the storyboard if you want to do a storyboard, and it's very good if you want to get like all the crew, you want your sound guys and your gaffers and all that sort of stuff to come together and make a really condensed, cohesive product. So you can get some really interesting stuff there. Like for instance, if you want to get like quite intricate blocking, you're going to want to have some kind of idea of what you're doing beforehand for that. So you can kind of script that out like, I don't know, Michael gets up and then he walks across the room and then he sits down on another chair and he's like, okay, this chair is actually quite nice. And then he gets up and maybe he walks around and he does a bit of this and he goes around in a circle. And then he does that and he says, actually, I think that we should go over there. And then, you know, cut to them over there. That was a really terrible example of what a script would be. This is why I'm not mainly a script writer. I'm not the best writer, but I think what my skill is making these setups for moments to happen. So I'm good at getting the people into that situation and then allowing them to flower and blossom and really have some fun with the role. And I think that's the beauty of improvisation. You might notice in this, if we've got script and we've got improv, I'm leaning more towards the improv. I've done a lot of scripted stuff in the past, and I do find a lot of value in it, and I do think that scripting stuff is probably the best way to go for quite a large-scale film and that kind of thing. If you've got loads of people waiting on you, you don't want to just sit around and goggle around and I don't even remember what the word is, and just make stuff up as you go along, because you've got all of these people with expectations and so on, and it doesn't quite work. And the actors then need some extra time to actually figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and that kind of thing. And it can also put more pressure on some actors. Some actors don't like improvisation, and some do. And it's just up to the actors. Some people have different methods, and that's the way that it is. Some people have different mentalities towards filmmaking, and I think that's the beauty of film and art in general, is that it's also subjective. There's no objective correct way to make a film or to make a piece of art. There's only your way of doing it, and the way that you want to do it is the way that your film really flowers into its own beautiful and unique and personalized product that you can send off to wherever it's going to be released, whether that be YouTube or whether it be Amazon Prime or film festival circuit or whatever it is that you want to do. So you've got these two tools, and it's very good to be aware of both of them and to sort of make use of both of them for different situations, because just like with any tool, you've got a particular use case for it. And when that sort of potential to do a scene with improv or to do a scene with script comes around, it's up to you to choose which path you want to take for that. And I think that's pretty much everything that I want to cover. It's you can do things either way. It's an artistic, creative medium, so you can really have fun with it and do what you want. You can combine script and improv as well, which I'm kind of doing with this Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. I'm writing a script, but I'm kind of allowing the script to change as I'm doing it. I haven't written out a complete script and that's how things are going to be, and that's the way that the plot structure works. I'm writing the script and then tweaking bits and then changing scenes as I kind of go along, and allowing the film to develop over the course of me actually making it, which for this type of project has been the way forward. But for your project, it might be different. Maybe you want to script everything out in advance so that you have this vision already locked in, and now it's just a case of actually doing it. Or maybe you don't want to script anything. Maybe you want to go completely improvised. Maybe you want to do some kind of very naturalistic film between just a couple people having a chat and hanging out, or maybe some friends hanging out. And that is a very good place to use improv, and you can use improv for the entire film. Like with stuff like It Just Takes a Little Time from Joel Haver, or the 922 films that I just described, or any of these kind of projects. You've got pure improvisation, and that's just pure. It's not even necessarily making up as you go along, because you do have an idea of what it is you actually want to do, but it's up to everyone around you to focus in on where it's going and how to get there, and it's a beautiful journey. So I hope that you'll come along with me for this making of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. I hope that you'll see it when it comes out, because I'm really excited to show it to you. And that's going to be all from me. Thank you so much for watching this. Have a great rest of the day. Go write a script, or maybe do some plot beats. That's important, by the way. Just do structure your scene in some regard. Even if you are doing improv, you can just come up with a basic idea of how the scene is going to play out, and then it's just up to everyone to fill in the blanks along the way. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of the day. Yeah, I like this shot. It's a cool shot, this. I'm going to move out of the way so you can... the thanks for watching thing should be coming up there. We're going to do some... you've got 2 videos as well. Click on one of them if you want. Don't have to if you don't want to.